Chris Samnee. This week, we're going to show you some of the cool work going on in the pages of some of the best comics. Now, the thing that immediately jumped out at me at this page was how you trap and limit Daredevil and kind of release him at the end for that big jump moment. And you seem to do that by framing within frames, such as that staircase in panel 3 and the doorway in panel 5. Is that a conscious decision?
Yeah, for sure. Panel 5, he's made it to the top of the staircase. He's coming through the door at on the roof, the two purple bits on either side. That's the door to the staircase. And then, yeah, he's free on the last panel. And with that big yellow. Love it. Love it.
The iconography is really big in the frame for the first panel, and then actually the end panel makes Daredevil kind of small, which is sort of the opposite of what you'd normally find for a superhero reveal. In the Nelson Blake episode, we talked about using small moments and then bursting out to the big reveal, but here you kind of go the opposite.
We're trying something different with this arc. This was the first issue of volume 4 of Daredevil, and he was going to become less Daredevil and more Matt Murdock. So yeah, he's bigger as Matt Murdock in panel 1 than he is as Daredevil in the final panel. But also there's that fun iconography of like Superman pulling open his shirt and you see like the Superman symbol, and I couldn't not do that. So we have that, and then you see him like casting off his Matt Murdock identity in the staircase and then becoming Daredevil. The Daredevil title is actually bigger than the character because the title is what's more important than anything, but it's just going to be Daredevil from now on. It doesn't matter if he's wearing a costume or not. And this is the first time we're going to see him in costume in this volume. And I didn't want it to be so big that you forget about Matt Murdock, because we're going to be following Matt and Foggy and Kirsten. And if you're just thinking about the superhero the whole time, you just want to get back to the superhero.
And talking again about iconography, we never really see Daredevil in this. It's all just kind of ideas of him or distant visuals. We don't ever really see him.
But because you don't really need it. I mean, you can see that he's in a superhero costume. You don't really need to see his face. I've been doing a lot of that with Widow too, where there's just a shape. It's just a black shape because you know that that's who that is. you know, she's the lead. You don't really need to see her face. It's like old Tintin comics. They're just like, here's a little oval with 2 dots, and you know who it is. You don't need every last line to sell something. Sometimes it's just cartooning is enough to give you the idea of what something is.
Are you kind of aware and asking yourself the question with things like that? Are you sort of saying, like, we don't need to see him, let's just obscure him?
Sometimes it's just going with your gut, and a lot of times going with your gut is the best way to do it, because that's what's going to read for the reader. And a lot of comics is just flying by the seat of my pants and hoping for the best. I'm still learning on the job. I've been doing this professionally since I was in my 20s. I'm 36 now, and I feel like I've got enough of a hang of it where sometimes my instincts are going to be right, and I just need to learn to go with them. If that makes any sense at all. I don't know if I'm just rambling here.
So I guess you just kind of develop your own personal visual language that you work in day out.
Well, sometimes there's like, you can do tricks with the eye line, and sometimes you can do tricks, make the reader's eye move, and I try and do those consciously when I can. Sometimes I do it unconsciously, and I just say, yay, that worked out well. And sometimes, you can be working on the page and go, you have to consciously say, like, if I do this, then that makes the reader do that. Then that's the math of it. That's the science, and that's exciting. And then sometimes it works out in your favor without even having to think about it. And then that's just gravy. Then you have to take that and go, oh yeah, I totally did that on purpose.
And the other big thing with Daredevil has always been, Hell's Kitchen, right? For a lot of superheroes, location does play a big part of their story. And Daredevil is known for being placed just in Hell's Kitchen in New York. Is there anything you want to do with that in the work?
There's more that I'm trying to ground it for the reader so that they feel like they're reading the real world and they're not just reading a comic that takes place in some amorphous, fake New York. That was what I set out to do with Daredevil, was just that it's a fictional New York, because Hell's Kitchen isn't Hell's Kitchen anymore. It's, it's Clinton. It's gentrified and it's clean, and it's not what it is in the comic. So I got to make a fictional New York for Daredevil. But with Widow, I wanted it to feel grounded and real. That made it so I was doing a little less cartooning in the acting, and in the style, it's a little more grounded.
In your style, with that you bring this heavy inking and shroud Daredevil in heavy black, but along with that it's this saturated red. What conversations did you have about making that part of the visual style?
Yeah, I mean, I figured his costume is really dark red. Like, I like it when he's colored, 50% R and 50% yellow, or 50%, but like, it's just a perfect red. When I started with Javier, I was like, can we please just make him Hellboy red all the time? Like, no matter what the light source is, or no matter what kind of bounce light we have, just always make him perfect red, and he'll always pop on any page. But I always thought his costume would be really dark. He's always covered in shadow all the way back to Wally Wood and Gene Colan. But yeah, so I always inked him really, really heavily because, you know, he has to blend into the shadows. It's just that pop art red, it's too cool to pass up.
And so that's it for this third and final episode of Chris Samnee's Creators Edition. If you'd like to hear more, there's longer audio-only conversations with myself and Chris over at the Patreon, extended answers and lots of extra little details we didn't get time to get to in these Creators Editions episodes. So if you're a fan of Strip Panel Naked and would like to support while getting access to a whole host of extra content, please check out our Patreon because we'd absolutely love you.